When there's violence in the home, a lot of adults that are experiencing it interpret the conflict as, oh, this is just something that's between myself and the other adult in the home. And if the children aren't there in the midst of it, they think that they are shielding the children or the youth and that maybe they aren't aware of what's going on. And unfortunately, the kids in the home are hyper aware of what's going on.
It's really hard for me to remember an age where it clicked in my head that what my family was experiencing was domestic abuse. I know I was introduced to domestic abuse as an infant, and it kind of happened throughout my childhood.
Not being able to protect that parent and to watch them be hurt, year after year sometimes, and see the damage and the fear that that causes can really do a lot to an individual.
I remember thinking at that age that I didn't understand why somebody would want to hurt my mom. I think that's when it clicked in my head that something was wrong in my family, but I didn't have a name for it.
There's a really high percentage of children who grow up in households where they've experienced domestic abuse and either move on to become the abuser or a future victim of that same cycle.
We often will see kids who may have been exposed to domestic violence in their family long-term end up perpetrating violence or being a victim as well throughout the rest of their relationships.
I've seen women who I've met with their grandmothers, I've met with their mother, and I've met with them, and they all have this cycle of intergenerational abuse, and they were never able to heal. I think that's the work we do at Dove. We're working across all generations.
One of the things that Dove Center is doing to combat intergenerational trauma is really starting with early intervention and prevention. We have these beautiful opportunities in working with the families to teach kids that the abuse that they've seen and witnessed isn't the norm. That's not what healthy, loving relationships are.
The earlier in life they have that opportunity, the better. And it also sets the stage for future relationships in adulthood. Teenagers are definitely our highest risk. They're really seeking to find themselves. They're trying to figure out their identity. They are very influenced by their peers, by their the societal and cultural environment. There's a lot of, denial, and that's not happening because they've learned over time that we don't talk about it.
I think it's a huge problem for someone my age. A lot of times when you have something going on, you're worried that people will think you are different or that maybe your life isn't as glamorous as it may seem. And it's hard to say that and to get it out and hoping that others will help you get through. It's important to make sure that we're talking about it.
What children and youth really need to help heal from trauma is one safe adult. If one safe adult can come forward and believe that child can have success.
People don't come forward and share because they're afraid of the judgment. If they knew that everyone in their circle was there for them and fighting for them and believing them, I think we'd see a lot more people have the courage to come forward.
Even if it doesn't happen to us, it's going to happen to someone that we care about. And if it doesn't happen to someone we care about, it happens to another human being. And all human beings deserve a sense of justice. They deserve a place to heal, a space for their stories to be heard. If we can really connect to our own humanity, it becomes more difficult to turn away to other people's. And sexual assault impacts people's humanity. It makes them feel less than human.
It matters because it affects families. It matters because it affects communities.
I watched my mom be in these abusive relationships, so I had this learned behavior that that's what I was going to go through too, and that's what I deserved. So it took me a long time to realize that no, I deserve a happy and safe and healthy relationship. Learning about that, it helped me realize that I can change, I can break that cycle, and I don't have to continue that into my future life with my husband and when we have kids down the road. You can break that cycle.